Okay, today I'm going to talk about the history of wrestling. I've been wrestling for 13 years, almost 14 years. So I know a thing or two about wrestling. But the one thing that I've always been curious about is the full history of wrestling. I've never truly looked into it. I only knew certain points about it. I never knew the full story. Today I'm going to go over the presidents that have wrestled in the past, and I'm going to go over the origin of wrestling, and then I'm going to go over how it made its way into the Olympics. First off, I'm going to start with presidents. George Washington. He was our first president, and he wrestled. At the age of 18, he was a champion of his county. Apparently he was a pretty good wrestler to be a champion of his county. And then next, Abe Lincoln. He was renowned for his wrestling skills. He was a champion of his county in 1830 at the age of 21. Apparently he was a tall, skinnier, but muscular wrestler. And he must have been good as well to be a champion of his county. And then Taft. Taft was a well-known heavyweight champ at Yale. He was a fourth-generation wrestler of his family. Heavyweight back then was 225. So, as you can see, he got a little bigger as he got in presidency, but apparently he must have been good to be a champ. Now going on to the origins of wrestling. In the 15th to 16th century, Native Americans used to wrestle. They would wrestle to find warriors for their tribes. And the way they wrestled would vary from tribe to tribe. Back then, in the 18th century, in the 18th century, wrestling was a popular sport. And then boxing wouldn't get popular until the 19th century. In the 20th century, collegiate wrestling was the most popular form of wrestling. Now I'm going on to how it was introduced into the Olympics. In 1896, it started in Greece. That's where Olympics started. And they added, in 1904, they added freestyle wrestling. Freestyle wrestling has a whole bunch of rules, but Greco-Roman was the first form of wrestling. And if you don't know what Greco-Roman is, it is a type of wrestling where you cannot use your legs and you cannot grab the legs. You can only use your upper body. And then there is folk style. Folk style is if you touch their back to the mat, they are pinned. There's a bunch of different rules as well. And the first type of wrestling that was mainly introduced that the presidents had used were collar and elbow. Collar and elbow was they started one hand on the collar, one hand on the elbow. And then that's how they started to wrestle. And now it starts at a line to line, and then they start. Even for Greco-Roman, freestyle, and folk style. This was a form of entertainment for a lot of people. It first started in like festivals or like carnivals. They would have wrestling. Today I talked about the presidents that have wrestled, the origins of wrestling, and the way it made its way into when and how it made its way into the Olympics. And that's the history of wrestling.